This is the most dangerous time. Well, at least that's according to BlackRock, JP Morgan. They're the same guys. That's according to JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. Also, Ray Dalio weighing in with some apocalyptic warnings as well. What's it all mean for us Bitcoin holders? Well, I want to talk about the price of Bitcoin with you today. Of course, that's what we do here, talking about the price of Bitcoin, talking about the big Bitcoin news, because there's been some pretty interesting developments on the Bitcoin ETF front. Been some pretty big adoption news as well for Bitcoin, which I want to share with you. So lots of exciting things going on, and some altcoin alpha. So make sure to stick around for that later on in the chat. And of course, as always, answering your questions at the end of the stream. So that's my favorite part of the conversation. I hope you love it too. So make sure to stick around for a bit of banter at the end of the news segment. Of course, shout out if you are joining us here on YouTube or on X, or if you're listening to the replay of this later on Apple or Spotify podcasts. Let's get it. Let's get it. So, JP Morgan, those guys, JP Morgan at it again. Always with the FUD, these guys. JP Morgan CEO warns the most dangerous time the world has seen in decades. It's all going down, guys. It's all bad. Oh, repent now. Look, JP Morgan, I like to cite them because I feel like they're an organization that's such a chaotic organization in terms of like, they are an agent of chaos, right? They are master manipulators of markets, master manipulators of human emotion, and are generally not to be trusted. So when JP Morgan's out here saying this is the most dangerous time the world has ever seen in decades, well, I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. He's, of course, referencing what's happening in Israel right now. And that is obviously something that is massive in terms of its potential political implications, especially if a region-wide conflict breaks out. But I mean, come on, the most dangerous time the world has seen in decades. Chill out, Jamie Dimon. What are you talking about here, buddy? But hey, I guess we should all be reminded that Israel is a nuclear-armed country, so there is that going for it. Hedge fund billionaire Ray Dalio also weighing in on the conversation here, saying the odds of a world war are now at 50%. A hot world war. We have two brutal ground wars, one in Ukraine, one in Gaza. So does that mean much of a difference? Hard to say. In a lot of ways, I feel like, does anybody even remember about Ukraine anymore? I feel like ever since Israel started happening, I haven't heard a word about Ukraine from anybody. And right before Israel started happening, we had kind of a lot of like, well, you know, the new government in Slovakia got elected and they're sort of going to stop sending money and weapons to Ukraine. We even had the US come out and say, well, you know, we're not going to support Ukraine indefinitely. Stuff like this, right? As battlefield realities have not gone in the favor of what NATO would have liked to have seen. So maybe that one's not so much of a worry anymore. Hard to say. Conflict, of course, is not over yet. Gaza, I mean, it could be very limited. Maybe Ray Dalio's getting a bit, and I don't want to fade Ray Dalio. Don't get me wrong here, guys. Ray Dalio's a person I have a lot of respect for. Great writer, great hedge fund runner, very, very smart dude overall. Still, perhaps the fears around Gaza are even a bit overblown because Iran already has come out and said, well, you know, really only if you screw with us are we going to retaliate. We're not going to come in and, you know, swoop in and save Gaza. And of course, they have some strings to pull with Hezbollah and Lebanon and all that kind of stuff, right? So maybe the odds aren't quite at 50%. It's not a, hey, flip a coin and it's either nuclear Armageddon or we're all going to be fine. Seems a bit too much for my taste, but let me know what you think. Of course, if you think that Dalio's right, Jamie Dimon's right, maybe just Dalio. We don't need to say it. Jamie Dimon's right, but maybe Ray Dalio's right here, right? And we are going to see the Middle East spiral into a regional catastrophe. Hopefully not, of course. Again, you see all the videos online of the horrific crap that's happening, and it's terrifying, and I hate seeing it. I hate seeing the people dying, and it's, of course, very difficult in every way to be in these kind of situations, and I'm praying that the violence stops as soon as possible. Man, it's terrible. It is terrible. Holy cow. Hopefully it stops sooner than later, but until then, any time that we have this macro environment where there's so many things not going in our favor, it creates a lot of uncertainty in markets. And that's something important to remember here, talking as investors, right? Also as humans who want peace to come and for violence to end and for, people's children to be safe and all this stuff, right? Obviously. But it does have the reality that it does have an effect on markets. If a wider regional conflict takes off, well, that could actually be a situation then where you see oil markets being deeply affected and these kind of things going on. But hopefully that's not what we see playing out in the coming weeks. Here's an interesting one from FX Heads. Recession is no longer the consensus. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. In a Wall Street Journal survey, economists lower recession probability below 50% and say the Fed is finished raising interest rates. Somebody should tell the Fed that, because the Fed has basically telegraphed to all of us that there'll be one more interest rate hike. Maybe not until December, but there's going to be one more interest rate hike coming. Will they or won't they? The $1 billion question, the $1 trillion, the $33.5 trillion question. I guess we'll see how it plays out. But if a recession is not the consensus, are the majority of economists who generally get everything wrong again? And is a recession definitely coming, or are they onto something this time? Well, if we don't have a recession in 2024, hold on to your butts, because that could really make way for a pretty exciting market environment, to be honest. Assuming the nuclear Armageddon thing doesn't happen, that would be a real downer on our tech stocks and Bitcoin and stuff like that. Also from FX Hedge, a soft landing in the U.S. could be hard for everyone else. Now, that's an interesting one. I guess it's from the Wall Street Journal that they're sharing here, but why not share what they're saying here? The U.S. economy might be heading for a soft landing, but the rest of the world could be in for a jolt. Global financial officials say they're grappling with an increasingly fractured economic outlook as many countries struggle with the lasting scars of the COVID-19 pandemic while others power ahead. Surprising strength in the U.S. economy poses a threat to the rest of the world, portending higher interest rates for longer and a stronger dollar that will weigh on other countries' growth. A jump in oil prices since summer is also threatening to reignite inflation, just as many global central banks thought they were at the end of policy tightening cycles. So that's interesting. That's a fascinating potential for U.S. markets that could come out of a soft landing quite well, but other markets which actually may suffer because of a strengthening dollar. Interesting. Also, can I say, with all this stuff going on, Israel, Ukraine, inflation, World War III fears, recession, new Great Depression, higher for longer interest rates. Somebody probably heard a puppy somewhere, guys. It's not cool stuff happening out there right now. The timeline is filled with doom and gloom. But while all that's happening, Bitcoin's around $28,000, $27,500, something at the moment of recording this video. And there's people out here just, stacking Bitcoin quietly, consistently, like psychopaths. It's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Now, before we get into the rest of the news, the big adoption news that I want to share with you, the big ETF news I want to share with you, and of course, the altcoin alphas. Make sure you stick around for that. Just a quick note, if you are a trader, you got yourself signed up for a BYBIT account. It's the best damn place to be trading futures, the best place to be trading spot altcoins. They have popular copy trading, up to $30,000 in bonuses using the link down below to sign up for your account. That's better than the $5,000 you'd get without signing up. Of course, that depends on how much you deposit, how much you trade, obviously, and you'll get involved for the lucky draw. So lucky draw, this is going for about 75 days still, so you have a little bit of time to get involved, but they're giving away an iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad Pro, Apple headphones, all that kind of fun stuff exclusively using the link in the description. Just go ahead and check it out if you are a trader. Now let's talk about the price of Bitcoin, one of our favorite topics of all times. Look at this right here. Bada bing, bada boom, guys. Price is going crazy. Now, very, very interesting at the moment that the price of Bitcoin has been doing fantastically. Big move recently. In fact, we just got our spike all the way up here to around $30,000. So very, very exciting what we're seeing right now for the, and everyone is in here saying the ETF has been approved. So we're going to dive into that here in a second. I have just started the stream and everyone's telling me the Bitcoin Spot ETF has been approved. So let's go ahead and hop into Twitter here in a second and find some more news about that. But that candle reaction, we got to check that out here momentarily. And of course, if that has been approved, find out here in a second. Very exciting if it has. Very exciting if it has. But that really has been foretold by the reality that we have not had an appeal from the SEC the other day. So that is some pretty damn big news that we're seeing right here on the timeline, that the SEC did not appeal the other day. And they've actually, so this, here we go. Breaking: the SEC approves iShares Bitcoin Spot ETF. That is pretty damn big news here, guys. We're hearing it here first. We're hearing it here first. Very exciting stuff right now coming in. Cointelegraph reporting: breaking: SEC approves the iShares Bitcoin Spot ETF. Of course, lull to grayscale. They fought in court. The appeal didn't happen. Remember, the appeal did not happen, right? And then there you go. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. We have an spot Bitcoin ETF being approved in the USA. And look, we're gonna have to break that down in more detail. That'll go beyond a bit of the depth of what I have prepared for the stream here. And we may not even have the information yet about like when's that going to start trading, all this kind of stuff. But yo, big news. Let's of course hope that's not just a rumor, but for right now, that does seem to be the case, that we have the Bitcoin spot ETF being approved. So pretty big stuff. Now, as Web3 Academy here pointing out, not confirmed yet. So look, that may go beyond the scope of what we're talking about in today's stream. So that's definitely very exciting to see. Obviously, super excited. Great to see on the timeline that we have that coming out. Let's hope it's not just a rumor and that it is the real deal. I mean, in crypto media, people can be a bit quick sometimes to rush in and say, hey, this thing's happening, when maybe it hasn't actually happened. But I would not be surprised if this is indeed the real deal. So we're hearing it here first. I'm hearing it from you guys in the stream right now. So it's very exciting, very exciting to see Bitcoin spot ETF being approved. I mean, the implications of this are absolutely freaking massive, as we've discussed at great lengths here for a very long time, ever since we first really started talking about Bitcoin spot ETF applications, which have been going on for a few years now. And of course, BlackRock getting in, and of course, it's going to be BlackRock, right? BlackRock getting into the game changed the game in a serious way. And you could tell that it changed the game the second that it happened, because everybody refiled, everybody updated their filing applications. Everybody said, BlackRock's going for it. That's going to happen. And now here we go. It appears to be that BlackRock has had their spot Bitcoin ETF approved. Awesome. If, of course, confirmed to be true. Let's, be optimistically excited here, but not get too crazy. Not get too crazy, right? Of course, my bags are damn well packed. I hope that yours are too, because you've had a lot of time to pack your bags. The news of a spot Bitcoin ETF has been so well telegraphed, right? It's like, come on, guys, BlackRock was going to get a spot Bitcoin ETF. Of course, we hope that news is actually true. Fantastic. Andrew Bowes saying, I've not seen an official article yet. So again, very exciting if true. I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. I'm here live now on the stream, so we shall see what actually plays out. Obviously, I hope that it is true, but let's make sure to actually find some more verification of this story here. So I guess I don't want to talk about it too much in the stream, except for the implications of a spot Bitcoin ETF as a more general thing versus whether this story is true or not. And I hope that it's true. It should be true. I mean, why the heck not? They literally, they have no reason not to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. In fact, they didn't even file any appeals in the Grayscale case because they're out of reasons. They have no appeal to make. They're done. They have no appeals to make, guys. Yeah. So with that being said, an approval makes a lot of sense. So we're talking, we've had so many estimates about how much money that can bring into the market. And in the current market conditions, it may not be as exciting immediately as we want it to be. There's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of sort of buy the rumor, sell the news, depending on when this product actually hits the markets. Remember, it's coming out in the markets at a time of relative pessimism, we could say, in broader market senses, more risk-off attitudes in the markets, right? Yeah, very interesting, though. Very interesting. If we are seeing indeed the birth of a spot Bitcoin ETF, we're talking $20-30 billion estimates coming into Bitcoin alone. And over time, that's going to be bigger. Over time, that'll be bigger, realistically. If BlackRock were to allocate, was it just 0.3% of the assets under management into Bitcoin, which is not a crazy amount of money by any means, they would buy up like every single Bitcoin that's currently sitting on exchanges. You realize that, right? That's how crazy the numbers of these guys are. And if BlackRock has been approved, again, we're waiting official sources on this, but if BlackRock has been approved, then everyone else will be approved. Fidelity is going to get theirs. ARK's going to get theirs. Grayscale will get theirs, which kind of unleashes a bit of chaos because there's like 680,000 Bitcoin there. What happens with those? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's a lot of people could be seeking redemptions in that situation. Will there be enough demand from the other players to outweigh that? Again, we'll see. We open up a bit of chaos here. We'll see. We shall see. Anyway, obviously exciting if true, and I'll be reporting more back on that later. If it is indeed, of course, true that we did get a Bitcoin ETF approved. So very, very exciting if that is true that BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF has now been approved. So I'm loving it. You're loving it. Let's hope it's the real deal here. Seeing a big move back down. Maybe that's the move back down, saying people, oh, well, maybe it's not real, but we'll see. Regardless of whether it's happened today or not, that is, something that is going to come. And I hope it doesn't happen live stream. If it's not happening today and in the future happen again, it's like, what's going on? Anyway, we are seeing a massive retracement back from 30,000 all the way back down to $28,000. Huge volatility coming in right here on the rumor currently of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved. Now that 200-day simple moving average, a very, very key line in the sand here for Bitcoin. That is the light blue on the chart here. Now that has come in right around $28,000 recently. We've seen multiple rejections back on the 30th of August, back on the 2nd of October, and back on the 8th of October, right around the 200-day simple moving average. We'll see how it plays out for the next couple of days here. If this news proves to be true, we shall see. Also important will be to see really this continued momentum. We've closed daily candles now above the 200 exponential moving average, the 50-day exponential moving average. These are very, very positive moments here for the market. So we'll see how this continues to play out and how real this news is or not. Of course, you guys can update me as I'm making the stream here. I don't want to just be over there scrolling Twitter with you guys, but if anybody has more information about that as we go through, do let me know in the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat here as we go through the conversation today. Yeah, right. So let's continue on. So here's something interesting I wanted to share with you too, just about the general sentiment in the markets, because this has been a tough year, I think, for investors overall. Bitcoin goes up 3%, and it's just like, we're so back, and Bitcoin goes down 3%, and it's so over. And as we continue our way forward, there's going to be a lot of volatility before the Bitcoin halving, even if a spot Bitcoin ETF has been approved today. I guess we'll find that out again for verification purposes, but there'll still be a lot of volatility before the Bitcoin halving. So just keep in mind the formation of the cycles, right? And how things kind of go, and try not to get too caught up in the day-to-day noise of what's going on, because thinking long-term is where it's at. Long term, if you get that low time preference, your chances of massive success become a lot higher, in my opinion. Now, this is an interesting one shared from the Scalping Pro. This is a monthly MACD bullish crossover. Last time we got one of these was back in early 2016. And that was a massive, massive indicator of a massive new cycle starting up. So that's a pretty powerful place to find a MACD crossover like that, a bullish MACD crossover. Where we are currently is a very powerful place to find that. So if that continues, if we start trending up with that, that becomes a very powerful moment for the markets overall and could lead us on a 2016, 2017 style run. Of course, we hope it will, where we see Bitcoin topping out anywhere from 150, 180K. Those are my estimates, as 150K is kind of a more likely area. 180K being conservative potentially with these numbers. I don't know. I don't want to get too like, oh my gosh, we're going to go straight to $500,000 this market cycle. 150K seems like a reasonable number. 180K, maybe like the blow off top day. I'm already seeing people that's going to be like 250,000. It's going to $500,000. It's going to $1 million. Like, you got to take the super crazy price speculation with a grain of salt here, because to be honest, that can be a little bit dangerous sometimes, these overly optimistic price speculations, right? So there you go. Pierre Chevron saying, be careful right now. Nothing's confirmed. Huge candle, but it could turn. Too much noise right now. I agree. It's like I said, guys, got to make sure we get some confirmation here on this story before, getting too crazily excited, right? Obviously, big news if true. Again, I gotta keep repeating that. Big if true. True if big. Huge if true. Right, there we go. There we go. Now, actually, we're gonna skip over. I had some Bitcoin spot ETF news here prepared for you guys, but we're gonna of course skip over that because it seems like we've got some other news on that. Now, in terms of just news more broadly, because this is the kind of stuff that's really, really important. I know Bitcoin ETFs are super, super exciting and have the potential to absolutely pump the markets like crazy, right? But when we talk about like just big news for the market, well, here's an interesting bit for you. Revolut, the UK's largest fintech bank, there were 30 million users, 30 freaking million users, has a new release which features a Bitcoin symbol in the main menu. Now, these kind of fintech banking apps have adopted globally, many of them, Bitcoin. To see them do it, great. That'd be fantastic. Unconfirmed, but if true, that introduces 30 million more users. I mean, are you starting to see how many things are going to be coming together? We're going to have the X app, which is probably going to have Bitcoin. We have PayPal and their PYUSD, and they have Bitcoin as well. You have the Grab app in Southeast Asia with Bitcoin. You have, I can't even remember the name of it. There's like like an Uber in Brazil's Uber, whatever that is, like 28 million users or something like that. They started a Bitcoin wallet for people. Like, one of these stories alone is like pretty cool. All these together makes you realize that the ability for money to flood into the market with the spot ETFs and everything else is absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. Now, before we get into the rest of the news here, just a quick note as well. If you're not signed up to Wealth Master, you got to get signed up. It's the best damn newsletter in crypto. 75,000 readers every week are getting the best damn newsletter to their inbox. Altcoin alpha, DeFi alpha, the latest news, and much, much more. Sign up for free in the description. It's awesome. Check it out. You're going to love it. So I like this anecdote as well here, shared by Mike Novogratz. So he was, I guess, walking around somewhere and saw a boat in Miami called Diamond Hands. So he said, I yelled to the guy, hey, are you Diamond Hands? He said, no, but I bought the boat from him. He said, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to laugh or cry. Ay. Pretty funny, though. Pretty funny. Just a reminder, take profits. Nothing wrong taking profits at some point in the future, guys. Seriously, pay yourselves at some point. I like this from Pentoshi as well. He says, when the printers come back to inflate away debt, and they will, and they always have, just remember the BTC is fundamental to the hardest asset in the world with a programmatic monetary supply and a fixed supply. There's always another cycle. And this is something that's so important. I love the sentiment on this because it's super important to realize that there's always another cycle. There's always another cycle. A few people coming in. Still getting a lot of mixed reports from you guys here in the chat on the authenticity of the spot ETF news. Reuters reporting SEC approving the iShares Bitcoin ETF, but that's via Benzinga. So we'll see. Secondary source, Bitcoin News removed the tweet. Some people saying it's fake. So yeah, we shall see still if that's true or not. Again, a lot of conflicting reports still on that Bitcoin ETF spot approval news right now. So just take it with a grain of salt. I mean, look, if it is approved, fantastic. If it's not approved, whatever, it's going to get approved at some point in the next few weeks or few months anyway. So who the heck cares? If it's approved today or if it's approved in 3 months, like, where are you going? Where are you going, guys? We're not going anywhere. We're here. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. They're going to approve it at some point anyway. So if it's now or later, whatever. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter, guys, when it comes down to it. We'll keep our eyes on that. Please keep sharing in the chat. I'm checking the chat every few minutes, guys. So if we have any updates on that story for you, I'll be sharing them here as we go through, of course. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. But I love this reality because, you know, spot ETFs or not, man, there's always going to be another cycle. There's always going to be more money printing. There's always going to be more money printing. Optimistic Roach coming in saying that BlackRock confirmed with Eleanor Tourette that it is false. There we go. So that may actually be not true then. Definitely let me share anything else you guys are seeing here. I'll look up Eleanor. I think I'm following her on Twitter real quick. But yeah, that may be it, guys. That may be it. Who the heck started that rumor? If so, somebody got a good long in, didn't they? Market manipulation at its finest, if, of course, that is proven to be false. So, man, oh man, what a day, what a day. I tell you, back below 28K, no confirmation. We're going down, guys. It's over. Thanks for playing the game again. I guess that 200-day simple moving average will once again prove to be resistance, and we will fail to close a daily candle above that once again. I tell you, guys, what a wild day in markets. Let me check Eleanor's feed here real quick. She's a Fox Business journalist, by the way. There you go. I'll bring this up for you guys here real quick. So she is a Fox Business journalist, and she said that she talked to BlackRock and that it's false. Our application is still under review. There we go. Well, that's been fun. Let's get back to the rest of the stream then. Holy cow. Holy cow. That's been a pretty wild ride, guys. Let's go back and look at these charts. Look at that. Look at that candle. Look at that candle. WTF was that? Well, we're right back to exactly the same price, basically, of Bitcoin as before the rumor came out. And it's just amazing how quick rumors can spread in this space, and everybody starts reporting. It's just like I said, right? You gotta be skeptical of things. You know, usually Cointelegraph is not the first person to find out about a spot Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock, right? It's going to be Reuters, the Wall Street Journal, or BlackRock themselves announcing it directly. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that, but it seems to be a false story for the moment. So, that all being said, let's continue on. Let's continue on. So yes, there's always going to be another cycle. There's always going to be another cycle. There's always going to be more money to be made. There's always going to be new money printing happening. McKenna here pointing out that it seems like China is going to be forced to turn on the money printer to inject liquidity. A bank run in China has begun, and of course, China's central bank is going to have to step in and fill those gaps. Just like the Americans are going to have to start printing money in a very, very serious way once again in order to combat that $33.5 trillion in debt that's going to be probably $34 trillion by the end of the month, or the end of next month at least. It's insanity. It's insanity. This can't keep going on, but they keep it going on. The Ponzi is keeping on, the fiat Ponzi, obviously. And that means that markets will pump again because they're going to have to print the money again. It's just how it's going to have to go, guys. There you go. There you go. Now, let me check back in on chat, see what you guys got to say in here. I'm going short. Yep, pump it up, pump it down. Yep. This confirms, Pierre says, this confirms the most important thing. We're getting a huge green candle when the spot ETF gets approved. Yeah, absolutely. Why wait and buy then? I agree, Pierre. I absolutely agree. See, this is the thing. A lot of people go, I'm going to wait until the spot Bitcoin ETF. Man, when the spot Bitcoin ETF's approved, shit's going to go real crazy real fast, guys. It's going to be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. That's what. Anyway, holy cow. Wild stuff here for sure. Now, from Coin Fashions, being a Bitcoin maxing in 2015 was the worst mistake of my life. I faded ETH at $1 when I could have bought 20K worth. Yo, that would have been crazy. Massive difference between walking away with 6 figures versus 8 figures. Dudes. And it's very, very true. You know, I think about the next cycle coming. Look, I'm somebody I've actually got a large 75% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the reality is that's not what's going to make me the big money in the next cycle. If you want to like make it it's not going to be on Bitcoin and Ethereum in the next cycle, right? Oh, you're going to make good money, right? And it's definitely the lowest risk bets you can make in the crypto market. Like you can still get a 10x on Bitcoin, potentially, I don't know, maybe 6, 7x, something like that. Same with ETH. Great. Fantastic gains if it only takes, 18 to 24 months for that to happen. Amazing. But if you want to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100x, and 100x is hard. Believe me, 100x is hard. You're going to have 50% drawdowns on that 100x journey, and you're going to sell too early and all this kind of stuff. Very few people make a pure 100x move. Not very common. But still, bigger gains are to be had with higher risk. Higher risk. And fading new opportunities, sure, if you want to play it safe, makes sense. But if you're looking for bigger opportunities and you have a little bit of risk appetite, stuff's out there. The stuff is absolutely out there for you. Wolf Wall Street's reporting Ferrari to accept crypto payments. Of course, widely repeated in the media. Ferrari started accepting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT for its luxury cars in the USA, with an eye on expanding over to Europe as well. The Italian automaker has partnered with BitPay, which is, of course, a major payment processor, to handle the transactions and instantly convert digital assets to fiat currency, shielding dealers from crypto's notorious volatility. So basically, you pay with Bitcoin, they get cash. That's what BitPay does. The move comes in response to demand from both young and traditional investors who are part of Ferrari's client base. Makes sense. You got young crypto traders, young investors. They want Ferraris. Ferrari says, great. You pay in Bitcoin. We'll take the cash. Doesn't matter to us what you pay with. If you think that's cool, we'll take your money. Also, of course, waiting for Tesla to come back, man. Come on, Tesla. Come on, let us buy cars again using Bitcoin. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic, Elon. Come on. Anyway, great news. All adoption news is welcome. I mean, this is big adoption news. A major car maker accepting cryptocurrency payments. Fantastic news. Again, this is the kind of stuff. Every single one of these stories adds up. Every single one of these stories is important because it normalizes Bitcoin. It normalizes cryptocurrencies. It's not just being some weird crap that people speculate on. It normalizes it as being part of everyday life. Something that's just, oh yeah, I'll go buy that with Bitcoin. Oh, I can use Bitcoin for that. Easy. I love it. Good stuff. Now, I would not necessarily go out and buy a car using Bitcoin unless it was just as like a thing to do. Like I'd probably do that and make a video and then buy the Bitcoin back immediately and replace it, but do it, to show the people accepting Bitcoin that, hey, people are actually interested in using it like a currency. But you know how it is. There's always the opportunity cost. You buy your Ferrari and then the prices go down. Prices go up. And you could have bought 10 Ferraris for that one Bitcoin. It's always the seller's remorse, right? You sell your Bitcoin and then, oh no, it goes up a lot. It's very problematic. Very, very problematic when you start to think like that. But you can't think like that too much. Or if you are going to think like that, at least try to buy a car when the markets are pumping, right? I think what's his name? The Moon. He bought a Bugatti with his Ethereum when ETH was like 4K or something like that. That was a good trade. Right? Got out before the markets went down, bought himself a car. If you're doing it like that, yeah, sweet. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. More power to you. Now let's talk about Metamask. Metamask and Stripe are teaming up to launch US fiat on-ramps. Now Metamask, of course, one of the biggest damn wallets in the cryptocurrency industry, so seeing them launch a fiat on-ramp is indeed very big news, and that will boost adoption of crypto in the USA without a doubt. Stripe is big. Stripe is like the big payment processor, and of course, Metamask is like the big wallet in crypto. So seeing these two come together, excellent news. Again, all these little things come together. All these things come together and you start to realize the potential impact of all this stuff, that we see all these things coming together, all these adoption stories, all these ways that money's going to come into the market. If you want to have a new cycle, you need more money to come into the market. You want higher prices, you need more money to come into the market. And I've already covered 3 stories today. well, 4, I guess, of the count the spot Bitcoin ETF rumors, but that would bring massive, massive money into the market. Any one of them are a big deal. And when you start to look at all these things that have happened over the last 12, 18, 24 months, the next cycle is going to be way bigger than people realize. Get ready, because it's coming. When? Well, we're kind of already in it, but how long it takes to start getting really silly prices? Probably not until after the Bitcoin halving. Also, Uniswap apparently preparing for KYC. So know your customer, aka you're going to have to give Uniswap your passport, driver's license, whatever. We're entering a new era for crypto, for better or worse, says Autism Capital. Prepare accordingly. Also notice which companies deny, and watch how quickly the narrative changes instantly. It's a worrying trend, and I think it's one that we're going to be basically impossible to escape from, unfortunately. We're going to see more and more KYC coming for all crypto services. We already saw the Europeans rolling out basically the travel rule, where if you withdraw money to your wallet, well, you got to have everything be accounted for, right? You have to have the ability for your wallet to prove that you own it, right? Or if you don't own it, well, who are you sending it to? Where's your money going? They want to know. Oh, they can't account for trillions of dollars they lost in defense spending and all the rest of the stuff, right? But if you send $50 to somebody and can't account for it, they're coming for you, man. They're coming for you. These guys, I tell you. Anyway, it's going to become more and more and more part. And it's kind of sad in a way, because it means the wild days of crypto may slowly be fading away and we become more institutionalized. And maybe the next cycle is kind of the last real cycle of wild libertarian like madness, and then things start to get more like the stock market in crypto. Good and bad, I guess. Less scamming, I hope. Less hacks, I hope. And maybe things get a little bit better, although kind of suckier at the same time, because we have to be forced onto the rails of traditional finance and regulations, and kind of sucks. Kind of sucks, if you ask me. All right, some altcoin alpha here for you guys before we open up for some questions. Chainflip Labs, by the way, I'm an investor in Chainflip Labs, and I'm an investor in MixMob, both in the private round for both. So just so you guys are aware, as always, full risk and portfolio disclosure, including all my venture investments, in the link in the description. So Chainflip Labs is announcing $1 million worth of their flip coin and liquidity provision incentives for the Chainflip AMM. So if you're looking for an early opportunity, and of course, keep in mind the risk of early opportunities. If you want to be an early adopter and an early farmer in a protocol, things can get hacked. You can lose all your money. Keep that in mind. Anyway, if you want to earn some flip, you can check it out. Go over and start providing some liquidity, and you can get it in for your portion of that $1 million worth of flip coins that they are giving away. So something that's pretty cool. Now, flip, kind of, if you can imagine, it's sort of like a Thor chain competitor. So you guys know about Rune and Thor chain. So this is sort of the next evolution of that. So check it out. Anyway, I just want to let you know about this liquidity farming opportunity if you're interested in that. MixMob, these guys have been doing some pretty cool crypto gaming stuff. Now they've actually got a situation where they have an incentivized beta. So if you want to check that out, you can get yourself in for some of those incentives, right? So you'll be able to accumulate points. They'll translate into MXM tokens later on when they do the token launch. So if you get in, start playing, doing different things, registering to play the game, actually playing the game, doing in-game activity, placing bets in the game, other stuff like this. You can see here, referral program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there'll be ways to earn those tokens if you're interested in trying to grab some of those tokens as well. Now, Scroll, by the way, not an investor in this, although I have been playing around on the Scroll mainnet, not affiliated with Scroll in any way. However, if you are looking for a future potential airdrop, no guarantees, nothing's ever guaranteed, but if you are looking for a future potential airdrop and to get in early on something, Scroll has launched their mainnet just recently, very quietly, but you can go and check it out and start doing stuff on there. Now, look, I've been playing around on multiple mainnets for new networks like ZK Sync and Linea and Base. And yeah, I'll be playing around on Scroll as well. If we've seen in history with like Arbitrum and Optimism, early users of those networks got rewarded. Sometimes very handsomely, sometimes just a decent little drop, you know? But if you can go and play around and kind of just be curious and try out some new dApps and stuff like that, you might get thousands of dollars in tokens in the future. Again, no guarantees. What you get might be worth pennies or thousands of dollars, or you might get absolutely nothing at all. But that's airdrop farming for you. And another new one, which again, I don't have any financial interests in. I haven't actually started mining liquidity on it yet, although I mean to, and probably do it the next few days. I haven't got around to it yet. But anyway, if you want to put some liquidity into this is an up and coming app on the Base network. So it's a perpetual exchange. We've seen a few of these, of course, launching around. But anyway, this is a new one coming out, and they have token farming available. Again, keep in mind, you can always lose all your money on stuff like that. None of these people are paying me to talk about them, by the way. This is sort of a fair launch over at Xena Finance. By the way, did you ever see Xena Warrior Princess back in the day, man? I love that show. That and Hercules with Kevin Sorbo. That was the shit back in the day. Anyway, I'm getting off track here, but if you want to check it out, new opportunity for you guys. So some things I've been looking at and finding recently. So if you're interested in looking at those things as opportunities, well, check them out. Of course, understanding that you can always lose all your money because this is crypto after all. Yeah, fun times. We love crypto, especially the losing all your money part. All righty. Now, let's do some questions, guys. We'll hang out for 10, 15 minutes answering your questions. So what would you like to talk about today? Always curious, of course, what you want to talk about. This is actually my favorite part of all these live streams that we do. I love doing live streams, by the way. I hope that you're enjoying the live streams, but these are always my favorite parts of the live streams. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about crypto. You want to talk about small coins? You want to talk about macro economics? You want to talk about geopolitics? We're here for all of it. Let's do it. All right. Pew Poo Poom asks, did you change your stream times? Yes, I am current. It's not permanent, but I'm away from the studio at the moment, and I will go back to my regular streaming time in about 3 weeks. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, right now it's kind of a bit all over the place. So I'm streaming sometimes. Let's put it that way. He says, also, when do we get the ETF? Is there a point to buying a proxy like coin or MicroStrategy? I think MicroStrategy is interesting, right? Is that's a Bitcoin monstrosity with a business. That being said, when a Bitcoin ETF comes out, will it be as interesting for a lot of people? It's really hard to say. Coin, though, totally different in my opinion, because coin is not a Bitcoin proxy, right? It's a crypto proxy, perhaps, but realistically, like it's got the fees being collected from one of the biggest layer 2 networks on the Ethereum network, which is Base. It's got custody services and staking services, and it's one of the biggest amounts of retail users on the planet, and so on and so forth. The fees, and it's a big business. And if crypto does well, Coinbase does well. So beyond a Bitcoin ETF, and look, a coin will probably pump if Bitcoin ETF gets approved as just like, hey, everything's pumping, let's pump this too. But I think that overall, coin is going to go more with the cycle and less with perhaps a particular news story, so to speak. Okay, where are we up to next? RB says people should DCA in now on BTC after this, on Bitcoin after this false news. Just shows how quick Bitcoin will rise. Yes, I agree. I mean, guys, we're getting a Bitcoin ETF. It's not today. I know it's very exciting for the few moments of the rumor going around, but it's going to come. It's going to come, and a lot of people are going to be caught off sides. They're not going to be involved, and that day will come and we'll get like a 30, 40, 50% massive candle, and it's not going to come back down, at least not for a while. So you can either wait for that to happen and buy the peakity peak of the spot ETF hype, or dollar cost averaging while the prices are low. Up to you. I know a lot of people like to buy high and sell low. I'm not judging, guys. If that's your thing, if you love buying high and selling low, You do you. You do you. Not my game. At least not. I make that mistake sometimes. Don't worry, I'm not immune to that. But generally, I like to buy low and sell high. It's the way of it. All right, we're up to next. Poom2 asks, it's wrong one. Rashawn asks, do you stake your coins? Yes, I stake the coins that are stakeable, except for my Ethereum right now. That's a complicated story. But I'm staking most of my coins that are stakeable, let's say. Yeah, like Injective, staking that. My Rose, I'm staking that, et cetera, right? My eGold, I'm staking that. Why am I not staking my Ethereum, though? See, it's problematic for me. I'd like to stake my Ethereum. I'm not anti-staking Ethereum by any means. And I've talked, I think, quite a bit about this in a previous stream, but just to give you the short and sticky of it is that if I stake my Ethereum via one of the staking providers like Lido Finance, that counts as, for my tax purposes, I don't know what's like in your country, but that counts as selling my Ethereum for Steth, which is a different token. It trades at a different price, which means I have a taxable event, which is a significant amount of money based on my average price of Ethereum, which makes the 3.5% or whatever earnings that I'm going to get pretty irrelevant, to be honest. So that's one. The other part of the equation is that, okay, I could stake it directly. That would be a non-taxable event, staking directly on the network, taking my 32 ETH clumps and staking them all in the thing. But I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid that when the time comes to sell, I'm not going to be able to get out of staking in time. Remember, it's a 2-year exit queue. If everybody wanted to exit, if everybody wanted to get their ETH out, it's 2 years to get out right now. So let's say ETH gets up to 10K, 12K. I'm going to sell. And if I go, okay, great, ETH's at 12K, now I'm going to end stake my Ethereum. Guess what? I'm probably not the only person thinking about that at that time. So you're going to have millions more Ethereum trying to unstake. So I'm going to be right in the queue somewhere. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, got to wait. By the time I get my unstaked ETH back, ETH's back down to 6K, something like this. And so in order to get that 3.5%, 4% staking reward, I lost 50% gains potential. Doesn't really seem worth it. And this is the kind of conundrum I'm stuck in, particularly when it comes to Ethereum staking, because of the exit queue, because of my problem that if I sell for a liquid staking coin, that I have to pay taxes on it. I would like to stake my ETH though, but these are the problems that keep me up at night about staking my ETH and why I haven't done it. And of course, can't stake Bitcoin, so it's just hanging out in a hardware wallet. Where are we up to next? Adam asks, in this era of crypto, your advice of taking your money out of the market or the market doing it for you is gold. Yes. Take your profits or the market will take them for you. It's a great saying. Write it down somewhere. Put it on your wall where you can see it because it's true, man. It's true, especially with altcoins. Look, I know we can talk about Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum as being their own kind of separate beasts, as much longer term assets. Other assets are still in the proving zone, maybe Avalanche, maybe Solana, maybe Polygon become very good long-term assets. But even then, let's say, okay, great, you're a big Polygon believer and you want to hold it for years on end, sell it at $3, rebuy it halfway down. Yeah, even then you'd be out of money, but at least, hey, you re-entered and you made a bunch of money and you can do that. I know time in the market versus time in the market, but this is crypto, man. This is crypto. Like in a couple years' time, some of these names that we think are household names today may simply not exist in a few years. And I'm not talking about like Bitcoin's not going anywhere, Ethereum's not going anywhere, right? But some of these other things, yeah, you don't know. You don't know. So don't be afraid to pay yourselves. And it doesn't, people make it mixed up too, because I think like, I've got to sell everything right now. No, you can keep it as simple as like, hey, look, I'm up massively on this thing. I'm going to take my capital out. Boom. Easy. It's a free bag now. Or, hey, I'm going to take my capital out plus whatever, 20% and pay myself. I made a bunch of money now. I'm happy. I've got my money out. It's risk-free bag now. I've paid myself. It's all good. And if it goes to zero or it goes to be a new paradigm of money, I'm prepared either way. Right? Something to keep in mind. What is this one? Rob says, I still have over 18K in NFTs from Veve, DC, and Elmon X. I can't get myself to sell some and buy a bit of BTC. Please give me a push. Well, I can't tell you what to do with your money, of course, but NFTs, man, we love them, don't we? We love them. Look, I don't know. I have no idea what kind of NFTs you're holding, and it's hard to say what the future of those particular NFTs might be. Some NFTs are definitely going to come back. You know, whether it's collectible NFTs or profile pictures or whatever, a lot of them, though, I'd say 90% plus are going to go to zero. It's up to you to determine, do you have those 90% plus that are going to go to zero? Yeah. Because right now I feel like NFTs are like at the bottom of the bottom, right? And they could still go lower, but there will be ones that come back without a doubt. Also, hey, fun thing. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was CoinLedger. I think it might be CoinLedger. Anyway, you look it up. There's one of the crypto tax companies actually offers a sort of like, a burn sort of thing for NFTs. So if you have NFTs that essentially have zero liquidity and have kind of gone to zero, so to speak, not officially, but essentially, you can actually sell it to them and they'll give you like a penny for it, basically. So you've technically sold it to somebody and you can write it off as a tax deductible event. Pretty cool, right? Check it out. All right. Let me see. We'll finish up here. One more question, and then we'll finish up here for today. Sean asks, can any bank offer Bitcoin like a house loan? I mean, I'm not sure exactly. You mean like taking a loan to buy Bitcoin? If that's the case, then not a lot of banks are going to give you a loan to buy Bitcoin. If you're talking about using your Bitcoin as collateral to buy a house, I know there's some services that have done that. I'm not sure what the names of those are, but if you look it up, I'm sure you can find it. But there has been some of those kind of services coming up that allow you to put your Bitcoin up as collateral. And of course, you can always potentially talk to an individual person at a bank, and maybe they're going to give that to you as well. But that's going to be a lot harder, and especially depending what jurisdiction you're in, might be a lot trickier too. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Great questions. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Crazy news about the BlackRock pump and then dump and then false rumor. What are you going to do? It's crypto. This is what we do. This is what we live and breathe. And rumor and speculation, it's all part of the game. I'll see you next time.